Hey guys, my name is Nick McLean, and this is the NM Music channel where we talk about anything and everything related to the modern musician. There we go, timed it perfectly, right? So I had a great question last week. What is better to improvise with, the major scales or modes? And so I have a counter question for you. Did you know that they're the same thing? Major scales and modes are the same thing, right? And now that's why we're going to find out today. Actually, the big overall thing of the video today is, why should you learn your major scales? Why do you need to know those major scales, right? Why is your teacher so insistent that they know them? If I'm your teacher, why am I demanding that you know and have an intimate knowledge of these major scales? Doesn't matter what grade you're in. I have students that play scales from 4th grade on up, 2nd grade on up, 3rd grade, 1st grade. I have a 2nd grader that knows inside and out their major scales. He just flies up and down on piano and can tell me all about them. It's amazing. Anyone can do this. It's just the backbone of music. So, yeah, let's get into it. You guys know what we do next. We go over here and we switch our camera angles up. I got my coffee. I got my microphone. We have everything ready to go. I think we just need a better camera angle. So, you know, we like this guy, and we got to get a picture-in-picture so we can make a plan of attack. So, boom and boom. There we go, except for I want it to be backwards. Oh, man, I always have trouble doing this. How do I do this? There we go. And shrink me. I'll learn one day, I promise. All right. So, we got our plan of attack. If you missed the last video we did, I think it was on Wednesday. So, yeah, it's been a rough week. It's been a rough week. But we're here. It's Saturday, and we're here. We're ready for this. Oh, yeah, we did the order of sharps, order of flats. So there's a video out there on that. If you guys have questions about learning your major scales, that's a great place to go to check those out, to learn how to get those. I'm going to make a video on how to use the 2 rules of the flats and go through a couple of examples of those. But I think that last video pretty much summed it up. All right, so plan of attack. Today's plan of attack is, why should you know your majors? Right? Why do you need to know your majors? Exclamation point. Or how about we just go like this? You need to know your majors. Bin, right? Done. All right, so what are some reasons why you need to? It's the musical alphabet. It is the musical alphabet. So, what do I mean by that? It's the order that we, write words in. It's the order that we create ideas in. All music that you've listened to so far is made up of these 12 notes, the chromatic scale, right? I'm looking at the wrong camera. The chromatic scale. And inside that chromatic scale, you have the major scales, which are the foundation where all the other scales come from. I think, mama scale is like the chromatic scale, and the next scale you learn is the major scale. And you learn these 12 major scales, and from this, then you can learn every other scale, and it's based off those major scales. It's the musical alphabet. It's what we use to write songs in, right? It's our language. Major is, I'd wonder what the statistics are. Ugh, can't talk. I'd wonder what they are, but how many songs are written in major versus minor? I know it's a lot more in major. If you know your major scales, then yeah, every other scale is a lot easier to know, right? So it's the universal, it's like the mama of all the tonal languages. And we said a good one a second ago. We said the major scale leads to other scales. And we're going to come back and talk to about this in a second. It's really cool. If you know your major scales, then you're able to learn any other scale. Because I shouldn't say any other, but there are a bunch of other scales that are commonly used that are just the major scale that is altered a little bit, right? Cool. It leads to other scales, and we're going to see how, if you know your majors, we're going to do this later. So stick around. We're going to turn a major scale into any other scale that we can, right? Or any other scale that's commonly used that you should probably know. All right, here we go. Leads to other scales. I had a good one in my head a second ago. Good one in my head. Leads to other scales. It's the musical alphabet. Oh, let's see. I got to figure out how to say this in words, in a short sentence to put it here. Let's talk about it first. If you're reading and you're reading through a book, right? And when you're reading through that book, you don't have to stop and sound out every single word. It's because you know how not only to spell, but you know these words, these little the category, like these spellings put together. C-A-T, cat, B-E-A-C-H, right? Beach, and you can instantly go, oh yeah, I know that, right? I know that. I don't have to think about that. It categorizes things together. I guess it does follow under that same musical alphabet thing. Like, it is a musical alphabet, but even more importantly, it categorizes things together, and we'll just leave it at that. Right. There's 3 reasons. I think we might be able to think of a couple more, but there are 3 reasons, and we really want to talk about this one in the middle. It leads to the other scales, right? It leads to other scales. So let's figure out how. Let's figure out why does this lead to the other scales, right? If you know your major scales, you're able to categorize things. You're able to read things easier. You're able to hear things easier because hopefully you know what a major sounds like. That's a sound, right? And we can use that sound to either write new songs or to learn other songs. So it categorizes things together and makes things easier to read. Okay, so the fun of today's lesson, we're going to take a major scale, and I'm going to prove to you that major scales, if you know your major scales, right, are, and we're going to use an easy one just to make it make sense for everyone. We're going to use C major, of course, but we're gonna look at this major scale and see what other things we can ask and create just using this major scale without much thought. All right. So first, of course, little dot 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 dot. Right. Let's take the C major scale. Right? And so I'm going to go here. It's C, D. I like these dashes. E, F, G, A, B, C. Right. Just for symmetrical stuff. There we go. The C major scale. You guys know that one hopefully already. And it's a C major scale. That's the base knowledge. All right. So the first thing we can start making from this is, actually, let's put this up here. I think it'll look way better up here in the long run, right? The first thing you can make from this is if we forgot D, didn't we? Right? If we start from D and we go up and ignore the starting note, we'll start from the second note, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. So we just go like this. Oh, there we go. And D. And we've created a D-Dorian scale. Right? Here's the modes, right? You've just made a whole new scale. It's essentially the same as C major, right? But you started on the second note of C major, right? And you ended on the second note of C major, D, and you've just created a whole new scale that you can improvise with, and people do all the time. Or write music in if you're in the classical world, right? With that means that there are 7 different modes. One that starts on C, that's the Ionian mode. I guess we can write that down just so if you guys are interested in knowing your modes, right? I-O-N-I-N, Ionian mode, and change this to mode as well, is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Then we also have one that starts from the third note of the scale, is the Phrygian, P-H-R-Y-G-I-A-N, Phrygian mode, and that's E, here we go, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. Let me know if I make a mistake, I'm typing kind of fast. The next one is the Lydian mode, right? And that's F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. Notice these are, again, these are all just C major. And if you know your C major scale, then technically you know 7 different scales, 7 different modal scales right here. Lydian, Mixolydian, and that's G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Aeolian, A-L-O-E-A-N, I believe, Aeolian. I think it's that. Let's find out. Here we go. Modes. I always forget how to spell these darn things, right? See, A-E-O-L-I-A-N. A-E-O-L-I-A-N. I'm not going to claim to be a master speller here. All right, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, right? We also got the second to last mode, or I guess it's the last mode, the second to last note in the major scale, the one that starts from B, right, is Locrian, L-O-C-R-I-A-N, right? B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, right? So inside of that, if you know your major scale, technically you know 7 modes, and you can practice them that way too. I get my horn, and where is my horn? He's hiding. Ooh, my door's open. I got to shut the door. While I'm shutting the door, check out the website, nm-music.org. That's where we have our lessons for sale and everything. I need to shut the door really quick. That way I can play the trumpet for you guys with some modes. Yeah, so if you know your modes, that's your major scale, 7 different ways to practice your major scale. Check it out. If you throw a metronome on and you go about it, of course, C major or C Ionian, D Dorian, that's E Phrygian, F Lydian, and G Mixolydian. Try doing that in all 12 keys straight, and that will really show you that's not only 7 different scales you know that are built into that major scale, but 7 different ways to practice that one scale you know. All right? Now, when we look at modes, there's another thing I want you to notice here. Where's my trumpet stands all the way over there. Can't put my trumpet down where I want to put it down. Notice the Ionian mode right there. That's just a fancy word for major, right? So we can come over here and after mode, right? But if you look at the 6th mode, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Aeolian. That's a fancy word for minor. So technically, if you know your major scales, you are responsible for your minor scales now, right? So check it out. There are 12 major scales, right? Now you know 12 variations of that scale, right? And now you know minors. Check that out. Just by knowing those majors inside and out, you know all these alterations. All right, so check it out. Let's go down here and write that C minor, or the A minor scale. The A minor scale. If you know the A minor scale, of course, that's the first mode. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. I got bored of the dashes. Too much typing. Can't do it. Right? So you know your minor scale right there, right? If you know your minor scale, then hopefully your teacher has talked about the 3 forms of the minor, right? And that's just taking that one scale and altering it just a little bit. Like I said, if you know your majors, then you technically know all your minors. So check it out. You got a natural minor, which is up here. We'll just bump this down by a line, and natural minor, the one that naturally occurs. I'd love to make a video on the minors here too. That'd be another great lesson. But we also got the harmonic minor, which is just one alteration, and I'm going to go ahead and just copy this over there, and I'll show you where the alteration is. You just take the 7th note and raise it by a half step. You also have your melodic minor, right? And that's when you go over here and you raise your 6th note and the 7th note by a half step. Not too bad, is it? Let that all soak in. So just by learning your major scale, right, you've unlocked 7 different modes, right? I guess 6 more modes in addition to the one you know already, which unlocks the minor scale, a different terminology for the same 6th mode. But with that minor scale, we can make some alterations to those minor scales, and there we go. Now, one thing that we can put in here before the, let's see, oh yeah, the one I wanted to do is the pentatonic scale, C major pentatonic, right? If you know your major scales, it's really easy to make a pentatonic scale, major pentatonic scale, because all you do is take a couple notes away. Major scales are 7-note scales. Lose 2 notes, the 4th and the 7th for the major pentatonics, and you have a pentatonic scale. 1, 2, 3, which is 5 and 6, and then 1. There's 6 notes written there, but 1 is a double. So check it out. That is C, D, E, G, A, C. Pretty easy, right? Hidden inside that minor scale, you also know your A minor pentatonic. P-E, typing too fast. It's better if I just start over. P-E-N-T-A-T, honestly. There we go. And that's as well 1, 3, 5, oops, 1, 3, 4, 5, and flat 7. I guess just 7 in our case here, 1. So then you use the A minor pentatonic or A minor scale to get that variation, which is A, C, D, E, G, A. And there's your minor scale or minor pentatonic scale, which are two commonly used scales all over music, in band programs across America, in music, in jazz music, in rock music, and classical music. Those minor pentatonics are literally everywhere, literally across cultures, across music, everything. Like, just knowing these minor pentatonics is one step toward that, universal language of being able to communicate with music. All right, we're talking about more scales that you can get. Uh-oh. Bongo's going crazy outside. Bongo's going crazy. He's my dog, if you guys haven't noticed. So this is a great time to talk about it. This is a live music lesson. This isn't, a fully edited video. We're sitting down, we're talking about some effects of music, some things that you can work with in music, and stuff that I think everyone should know. Like, if you're in middle school, if you're in high school, if you're learning music on your own as an adult, these are just the backbones of music. These are a lot of things that I think is left out of the curriculum in school, and the curriculum in your music teacher's office, in your studio. I know there's a ton of teachers that leave this out of this. Leave this stuff out of their lessons. So check it out. Let's get back to it. Right? We know the C major scale, those 7 modes. We got the A minor scale from that 7 modes, which means we took away 2 more notes. We made the pentatonic scales. All right. If you guys are watching and commenting here, I'm going to pull up the comments. If you guys are interested, let me know. Did you guys know any scales that you can make from majors, right? Okay, back to our plan of attack. Where is our plan of attack? Okay. Got her. All right. It leads to other scales. What other scales can we make from the major scale? Just to prove to you guys, if you know those major scales inside and out, inside and out, the more you know those, the more you can alter those scales to make them major. Ah, yes. Okay. 2 great scales for improvising in jazz, right? Dominant bebop, right? And the major bebop. Right? If you know your major scales, these are easy to make. It's the Mixolydian plus natural 7. Plus a raised 7, I should say. Right? So that'd be in the key of C, of course. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, F sharp, and G. Right? Here we go. This is the major bebop scale. Great scales to use over some jazz improvisation. And we'll talk about those here in the future. These are great things coming up. So if you're interested, like and subscribe to figure these ones out. All right, we got the major bebop scale, which is, it's a major scale, or Ionian, I could even write, since we're looking at it from a modal perspective, plus flat 6. Right? And, of course, in the key of C, it's going to be C, D, E, F, G, A, flat, A, B, and C. Commonly used scales, right? Oh, gosh. There should be one before this. Look at this. If we have a major pentatonic scale, we've talked about this one here on this channel before, so go watch some of these blues improvisation videos. That's when I was really heavy into this scale, on this channel. We had the C, let's see, what we're going to call it, C major blues scale. Right? If you know your pentatonic scale, all you have to do is add a flat 3 plus flat 3. And we don't have parentheses here. We have dash, don't we? Right? All you do is C, D, E flat, E, G, A. C, of course. And then you got your C minor blues scale as well. C, E flat, F, F sharp, G, B flat, C. Now that one is a minor pentatonic plus sharp 4. The blues notes, flat 3 and sharp 4. Taking each of those pentatonics and adding blues notes to them. And they can be interchanged too. You can put the F sharp up here and this one and make a hexatonic scale or sextatonic scale. All right, what other scales can you make using the major scale? This is all in request from that one question we got in one of the last videos. Is what he asked, should I learn my major scales to improvise with or my modes? Well, of course, both. Everything. Know them in and out. If you know your major scales, you know your modes. If you know how to alter these major scales, and it's really about, can you alter them on the fly and eventually turn that into a scale that's just part of yourself, your scale. Just as well as you know C major, you should know C sharp major exactly the same. You should know the C major blues scale exactly the same. All right, check it out. Here's a cool thing you can do, right? We started talking about minors. You can alter a minor or a major scale to turn it into a minor scale without using modes either, right? So it's called the parallel minor, right? Major with flat 3, flat 6, and flat 7, right? C, D, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, and C, right? Now, here's a super cool thing that happens with a parallel minor. Now, we have a different relative major and minor. What key has 3 flats in it? E flat, A flat, and B flat. If you guys know, hit the comments over there. I'd love to, get into that one. I'm going to actually tell you, right? The relative minor of this minor, sorry. Getting all confused, right? Let's put this back here, right? Is E flat major, 3 flats. That's E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat. And I started using those darn dashes again, right? All right, so if you guys are interested in more of these minor things, I need to make a minor video to help you guys through this. But these are some easy ways to alter major scales and turn them into all other scales. So proof that if you know your major scales, you can make any other scale. All right, we talked about the major scale, and we talked about the minor scale a lot. Then we talked about relative and parallel minors and majors that turn into different pentatonics, into blues scales, into bebop scales. Here's another thing, another way to use your major modes or your major and minor modes, most importantly. I think your minors are the next most important scale you need to know, inside and out. That's a whole different scale on its own. But they are the same. So, yeah. Going on, if you can take those majors and minors and we can compare them back almost full circle to these modes. Because one of the things I really hate doing is taking a mode and being like, okay, D Dorian, I have to go backwards and find its parent key. Like, where did it come from? Oh, it came from C major. That means D must be the second note of C major. That means I need to play in C major and go ahead from there. And that's a lot of thinking, right? I would rather take D major and alter it, or D minor and alter it, right? So if you check it out, these modes, right? I'm going to copy and paste these modes because we can use these again, right? And it's not a new topic, but I'm just going to separate it out just to make it a little bit. Let's do a page break just to make it a little bit more organized, right? We have our modes, right? Turning modes into, comparing modes to majors and minors. Oh, my dog wants back in. One day, I promise to let you guys meet him. So if you guys are just joining us, this is the NM Music channel. We are doing major scales and why you need to know them. What's so important about them. And to prove what's important about them and how important they are, I'm saying if you know your major scale, you can almost play any other scale you'll need by altering that major scale. So here are reasons why in scales that you can alter the major scale to fit, just to show you how many other things use the major scale. But in the meantime, if you're interested, check out my website. It has a bunch of lessons that you can purchase and buy, one-on-one lessons or live lessons or unlimited online lessons. These are great ways for you to learn about this stuff a little bit more in detail rather than randomly here online, which is great as well. So here's the website, and check those out. I'm going to let the dog back in, and one day I'll let you meet him. Yeah. Okay. So check it out. comparing modes to majors and minors. That's what we're doing right now. Just as a way to show you, different ways that the majors and minors can be helpful, right? Reasons you should know this. Well, say you wanted to make, I'm going to start with here, the Lydian mode, right? The Lydian mode is a major scale. It's a major sounding scale, but one note is different, right? The fourth note is normally, in the key of F major, the fourth note is normally going to be a B flat because the key of F major has one flat in it. That's why you got to know your major scales. Well, I would rather think F major with a sharp 4, right? B natural, right? Than thinking, oh, all right, starting on F, I'm going to go back by 4 notes, F, E, D, C. Now I'm in the key of C. C has 0 sharps and flats. Now I'm going to play from F to F in the key of C. By the time I think all through that, it's gone. But I can alter that fourth note, the B natural, throw that in there on a fly and say, okay, just play F major, go. Okay, sharp 4, go. And my mind can switch it over faster than I can think through that whole process. So if we look at this again, Lydian, right, is major with sharp 4, right? Mixolydian, let's look at that one, right? G, A, B, C, D, E, F natural, G. Normally in the key of G, major, right? We're comparing and contrasting to the majors, right, or minors. Normally in the key of G major, that F is an F sharp, right? Check it out. This is major with flat 5. Just take your G major scale or any major scale and flat the 5. Sorry, did I say flat 5? 7. I don't know what I'm thinking there. Flat 7. Any major, not minor scale, any major scale and flat the 7, you got a Mixolydian scale. Way easier than thinking back to its parent key. Now, I mean, here it's kind of easy because its parent key is C major. But if I guarantee, if I put you in the key of F sharp, would you be able to think back those modal aspects? And if you can, that's great. I just don't do it that way. I think it's cumbersome. All right, let's take a look at the, those are the 2 major modes. Of course, Ionian is a major. That's just straight up major scale. Right? Major scale. All right? The other scales, the Dorian, the Phrygian, and Aeolian, we already know Aeolian, of course, is just minor scale. Okay? So check it out. Dorian, if you know your minor scales, D, E, F natural, G, A, B natural. Okay, that's weird. C and D. Right? That's a straight up natural minor scale, the D natural minor scale, but it has a raised 6. Minor with raised 6. Right? I should say raised 4. Lowered. Right? Just to be a little bit more phonetic, or not phonetic, practical about, the terminology here. All right, we got one more. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. Well, that's just a straight up E minor scale with a flat 2. Normally an E minor relative to G major has 1 sharp. That's going to be F sharp. Well, it's normally F sharp, and this scale, it's F natural, which so we got to say that's minor with lowered 2. I think we hit them all. Oh, one more. This is the only one that has 2 alterations. Now, this one I do not think of with these alterations, right? This is minor with flat 2 and flat 5, right? Or just think up 1/2 step to major. Because a half step up from B is going to be C. Way quicker, I think. Okay? Well, those are some scales that you can make with comparing modes to majors and minors. You need to know your majors. That's the whole point of this video. Know your majors. So if you guys have any questions, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to come back to the chat really quick. And if you guys have any questions, I'd love to answer some questions for you guys. I'm going to be here for a little bit right now. And I'd love to, just talk about, like, what do you find interesting about these modes? Do you practice your modes? Are you aware of your modes or of major scales? Did you know that your major scales can lead so far? Almost every scale that you know can be compared to a major scale. And that's why everyone's so adamant about you learning those major scales. And I mean knowing them. One of the things you can't do, and I promise, do not do this, right? One of the things you can't do is you cannot go in and you cannot read these scales off a piece of paper. You will not know them. I promise that, right? you just got to know them, which means you got to practice them, which means you got to repeat them, which means, yeah, you just got to know them. Okay. Well, that's my spiel. Do you guys, let me know if you have questions in the comments below. If you guys are enjoying all this kind of stuff, the best way you can support right now, and the easiest way, the freest way, is to go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button, right? If you guys have questions about music, leave it in the comments below, or email me, or heck, post it somewhere on Reddit, and I might find it on our Q&A session when I hunt and peck Reddit for music questions that I can answer. So if you guys are interested, right, I want to show you my website here, of course. Right on my website, if you hit the store at the top, NM store, the Nick McLean store will come up. I have a couple different ways that you can practice or come along, to learn along with me. First, and the discounted lessons, which are $60 a week. Private recurring lessons, that's one-on-one with Skype, FaceTime, Facebook, whatever you want to call it. Unlimited online lessons. That's kind of like what you're doing right now. There's a link down in the description that's going to let you record a question, record yourself playing or anything like that, and put it on your YouTube channel. You can give me that YouTube link of you playing, and I'm going to, whatever your question is, or if you just want us to look at it and be like, yeah, that's really good, you can work on this. Basically, it's a live lesson. You submit it, and I don't give anyone your name, maybe your username, but that's about it. Right? If you're interested in a single lesson, that's where you get that. There's one single lesson. Again, that's just like these private recurring lessons, one-on-one private lessons. All right, so thanks, guys. I really appreciate your support so far. We've got almost 50 subscribers, which is awesome. I don't even hardly try. All I do is get on here and talk about music. So it's great that people are kind of listening and kind of joining in. So, being that close to just 50 subscribers, 50 musicians out there subscribing to this, the 50th person that subscribes, I'm definitely going to give a free lesson away to. And the cool thing is, I have the counter up here on my screen, of course. Hey, what's up for watching? Thanks for watching. If you guys are interested in lessons or anything like that, hit me up. But the 50th one is going to be given away for free, so like and subscribe, get that out of the way. You got to hit the comment button. Heck, if we don't get to 50 tonight, I'll still give you that free lesson. I don't really care. I just want you guys to learn music. All right, so today, let's just do a quick review of what we talked about a little bit today. The reasons why you need to know your majors, right? One is the musical alphabet, right? It's how we build everything. And I think if you go back and watch that video, you'll see we can make all these different scales just by using the major scale, right? Which leads us to number 2. It leads to other scales, right? It leads us elsewhere in music. It leads to minor. It leads to pentatonic. It leads to a bunch of scales that we didn't even talk about today, right? But notice these other scales shouldn't be that much more difficult because they are the same as a major scale, right? So it categorizes things together. That works when you're reading. That works when you're comparing them to other scales, right? But if you're reading stuff that you know how to read, or I should say you're reading stuff that you already know what it sounds like, patterns and modes and scales and different things that you see in music, then all of a sudden you know it's going to be easier, right? So the first thing we did is we looked at the major scale and we defined all the modes of it, and we realized if you know one major scale, then technically you know 7 different scales, which are the modes that are hidden inside that major scale: Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, Mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian. And as you can see here on the right, if you need to go back and watch the video again, but as you can see here on the right, it's just a C major scale written out starting in different spots, right? C major scale that starts on C is Ionian or major. On D, it's Dorian. On E, that's Phrygian. It's the 3rd note of the scale to the 3rd note of the scale in the key of the parent scale, which is C, right? It's just a way that you can categorize these different scales. You can even consider these to be a tonality in themselves. You can write a song in F Lydian. You really can. And there are whole chords and a whole system of Lydian that goes beyond, modern music theory that we are working with here in these lessons, right? But you can also use Lydian in a different style. We noticed that you could use these scales to practice your C major scale, right? Or if you're in a different mode, of course, hopefully you're transposing these to different modes and practicing them there. But you can use these scales to flip through and practice your other scales from different points and different advantages, right? Then we noticed that the 6th mode is the same as the minor scale. From there, we altered the minor scale a little bit, and we created 2 other scales, the harmonic and melodic minor scale. And if you like and subscribe, you won't miss my video that's coming out here. It's going to be one of the lessons coming up probably in the next week, is why do the harmonic minor and the melodic minor exist, right? If you're going to learn them, you're going to play them, you're going to see them in music, I want you to know why they exist. Otherwise, why should you learn them? From there, we eliminated a couple notes from the major scale and we created a pentatonic scale. We also then, since we know the minor scale, we eliminated a couple notes from the minor scale and we created the minor pentatonic. I don't know if I said this before, but the major and the minor pentatonic scale are also relatives, which means they are the exact same scale as well, right? C, D, E, G, A, C. If I start here on the second note of this minor pentatonic, C, D, E, A, C. It's the same scale, right? Just starting on a different spot. So it's just a definition, just a way we define things. We added notes to these minor pentatonics into major pentatonics. When we added a flat 3 to the major pentatonic, we created a major blues scale. When we added a sharp 4 to the minor pentatonic, we made a minor blues scale. And if you, these are not relative, so you cannot flip them. To an extent they are, but that F sharp and the E flat are not. All right. So another thing, we altered the major scale and the Mixolydian scale to make other common scales in jazz. I'd love to make a video, if you guys are interested in that video, how to use the major bebop and the dominant bebop scale to improvise in jazz, right? All we did is add a couple notes, as you can see here, to our major scale, or I should say our Mixolydian scale, which is a form of the major scale, and to the major scale as well, to make those scales. The last thing we actually looked at as well, we can take the major scale and alter it as well to turn it into a minor scale without using that whole method of modes and relative minors as we were talking about earlier. So the last thing we did was compared modes to majors and minors, and I think this one's really interesting. If you know your major modes, right, then or your major scales and your minor scales, which are 2 of the most important tonalities that we work with today in functional harmony and music, right? If you know those 2 modes, then it's kind of easy to turn those modes into other modes, right? We were saying how we don't like to think back to the parent scale. We don't like to go back there. So, yeah, all we did was we sat here and said, okay, Ionian mode, that's just major. Dorian mode, okay, that's a minor with a raised 6. And as you can see, D minor is going to be the same relative to F major, so normally there would be a B flat there. So getting rid of that B flat, that raises the 6 to a B natural. Well, that scale is actually just C major, or more properly called D Dorian, right? Because it's the same, it's coming from the second note of the scale. Oh, we got Phrygian, which is minor with lowered 2. Same kind of process for each one of these. Major with raised 4 is Lydian. Major with lowered 7 is Mixolydian. Minor scale is just Aeolian. Just start on the 6th note of a major scale, and you know your minor scale, as we said before. And the one I don't really think of the altering too much is minor with flat 2 and flat 5. That's a little bit more complicated. I just think up a half step. So if I'm in the key of B Locrian, just think up a half step, a little musical math hack right there, boom, and you're in your parent key instantly. And that's the only one that I use the parent key method for. Oh, okay. So I think that's a pretty good review, right? No, you need to know your majors. They lead you everywhere in music. They give you all the information you need to know, and you need to know these like intimately and knowledgeably. So how do I do that? One, you just got to start playing them every single day, right? One, take this week and learn 2 major scales by heart, right? And never forget them. There's so many ways that you can do that. So, oh, nope, you don't need to see anything else there. As we sign off today, I'm going to double check. Hey there, there's 2 of me again. That's how well I know how to use this. Blue first. Boom. So as I sign off today, I wanted to thank you for subscribing and supporting this channel. And like I said, I want to give away a free lesson to the 50th person. It will be hopefully a really long lesson, at least an hour, one-on-one, Skype camera. If you are under the age of 18, your mom will have to just say, hey, really quick, or your parent or guardian or whatever. Be like, hey, this is cool. You can take a lesson. Be like, cool. I want to give that away to the 50th subscriber. So we just need a couple more people to join this channel and start watching these videos, right? So if you guys have any questions, right now would be a great time over in the chat. Say, hey, what's up? Or as I sign off, down in the comments, say, hey, thanks for doing this, and thanks for being a musician here on YouTube, giving these free YouTube lessons, right? We talked a second about if you wanted to join the studio officially and become an actual student, one-on-one kind of student, you just check out my website, www.nm-music.org, and that should be down in the link in the description. Let's double check. Yeah, of course it is, right? You can jump in there and join the studio and join our lessons that we do one-on-one. I would like to give it a little pre-announcement. If you guys have watched this far in the video, you deserve it, right? This summer, I'm going to be doing a YouTube Live summer music camp for music theory, right? Learn your music theory, learn your jazz music theory. I think it's going to be this summer. Official dates are going to be released soon. But I wanted to announce it here and see if you guys had any ideas about that. I'm going to go and bounce it off some other people here on the internet and here in Dallas where I live. I want to see, would you guys be interested in that? Having a private, right? It would be not live. Well, it would be live, but it would be it would be for studio members only, right? I'd give you a special link that you can get in and not share it with anyone else. So it'd be exclusive to you where you could ask any questions you want. So if you guys are interested in something like that, let me know. I'm thinking a lot about that, and I think it's going to be a 2-week course. I have kind of a mock kind of thing of what we'd be talking about. Let me see if I can find it right here, right? I'll bring it back over. Let's see. Yeah. Bring it over here really quick. We got musical nomenclature, which is like how to write the stuff down, plus the chromatic scale, major scales, and major modes, which is what we just talked about today. So it'll be kind of like this lesson, but maybe a little bit more in detail. Minor scales plus the 3 forms of minor, just going in more detail on how to make those and why they work, right, and what the 3 forms of minor are. Diatonic triads in the major scale and 4 types of triads, so getting you guys to know what chords are, basically. Diatonic sevenths in the major and the 6 types of minor sevenths, right? Chord functions in major, diatonic sevenths of minor, basic chord functions in minor. So a lot of this stuff and learning chord progressions and being able to, basically the end goal is to analyze hopefully a jazz chart, but this works anywhere. We're going to analyze some jazz music. We're going to analyze some easy classical music to analyze and use some of this stuff that we actually learned to understand how music's working. Now here's what I'm doing. There's 14 lessons there, and that's a lot. But instead of working through, all these advanced keys and jumping to into territory that you might not be so friendly with, I'm going to keep it very simple as far as keeping everything in a friendly key, keeping everything easy to understand, and allowing you to ask as many questions as you want. Anyways, yeah, that's my idea. We're going to have the Summer Theory Boot Camp. This is the music theory for everyone. This is the music theory for the common musician, for the everyday musician, for you and me, the music theory that you're going to use. I used to teach a class like this called Useful Theory, and that's exactly what I want to do. I want to bring it back, and I want you guys to be able to understand how all this works, right? So, yeah. I hope that some of this worked for you, and I'm going to get off YouTube now because I think we are completely done. Yeah, I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll talk to you soon. I'm here every single day, hopefully, mostly every single day. Every once in a while, I can't make it. I'm here every single day from 3:30 to at least like 4:30ish, maybe 4:15ish Central Time. That's 4:30 to 5:30 over on the East Coast, and subtract 2 hours from 3, so 1:30 to 2:30 over on the West Coast, right? So thank you for watching. Thanks for liking, subscribing. If you guys are the 50th member, I will be reaching out to you, the 50th subscriber. I can't wait, right? This is super fun. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon.